Today, we are talking about marketing mistakes to avoid. Some of these will be focused on social media, but some of them, like this first one, are broader and can apply to marketing and messaging on any platform, social media, email, website, product description, wherever you are talking about your products. So this first mistake is not using emotion in your content. So whenever you are writing any type of marketing messaging for your audience, pulling in the emotional appeal, the emotion that your characters go through if you're an author, the emotional scenes in your book, or the emotion that your audience will feel when they use your product is really, really important to incorporate in your messaging. Yes, pulling out those themes and those tropes is really important, or listing the features of your product. It's important. But being able to effectively communicate the actual emotion behind your product, people want to know what is in it for them and what it's going to do for them, how it's going to make them feel, how it's going to benefit their life. And so anytime you can incorporate that into your messaging, the transformation, the emotional appeal, that really makes a difference in your marketing messaging. So mistake number one is not incorporating that, is staying high level, talking about my book has these themes or these tropes, but go one step deeper than that. What emotions are they actually going to feel when they read your book? I think a helpful exercise for this mistake is to go through your product and think about how someone might feel at every stage. You likely wrote certain chapters of your book to make people feel something. So at what point in your book are they going to laugh? At what point are they going to cry? If you are a product maker, what do you want your audience to feel whenever they actually are using your product? Is it jewelry to make them feel beautiful? Is your artwork meant to be hung on the walls to make someone feel calm and peaceful and at home? What are those emotions underlying your product? That should be incorporated into your messaging, whether it's social media or elsewhere. The next mistake is similar, and that is not focusing on your audience, focusing more on yourself. I'm a huge advocate of being yourself on social media and talking about personal experiences and storytelling. It's part of the pillars that I teach for social media, so it's extremely important. But at the end of all of that, we should be tying it back to how it benefits our audience. With every social media post, what is the benefit to your audience? What is the purpose of you sharing this? Give them the context and connect it back to your products. So if you're telling a story about why you became a writer, for example, absolutely do that. But in your story, connect it back to what you do now, the types of writing that you put out there, and what you hope to achieve for your readers as well. If the whole story is just me, your audience might connect with certain parts of it, but they also want to see themselves reflected back in your story. So if you can say, that's a big reason why I write these books for my readers, because I want them to feel blah, 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 right? So always try to make sure that there is a focus on your audience and the target audience that you want to reach with your posts. Okay, the next mistake is not trying out a social media platform long enough to actually see results. I get this a lot, that people will try 5 to 10 posts on a platform. Specifically, TikTok is one where a lot of people will give up pretty quickly. And one, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I am definitely not an advocate of doing something for a long time if you don't enjoy it. I think social media is tricky for a lot of people. And if it's not something that you enjoy, there are other marketing methods out there. And I'm saying this as someone who teaches social media. It's okay if you don't like social media and you don't want to be on it. There are other methods. I think it's great. I think that you should have an active account on at least one platform so that when people search for you, you come up. But I don't think it's something that you need to actively be on if you don't want to be. But that being said, if you haven't given it a solid try and really experimented and tried different styles of posts, like video, like carousels, like photos, like graphics, and really experimented with your messaging as well and tried different things, then you probably aren't going to see results. I also think that there's a myth that most people go viral on TikTok. We tend to compare ourselves to others who have, and if you haven't, well, then might as well give up because it's not working for you. But that isn't true. A lot of times, the very beginning of using a social media platform, you aren't going to be good at it. You're not going to start off being absolutely amazing. Yes, there are the people that go viral quickly. I was not one of them. It took me months to get over 1,000 views on my first video. And then I learned from there and kept going. So seeing a lot of people give up because they're in a similar boat than I was, but I've gone on to sell tens of thousands of books through that platform. Now, not guaranteeing that's going to happen to anyone else who keeps going, but it's a great platform for sales and things will pick up. But you'll never know if you've given up before you've really even given it a solid try. My main recommendation is a minimum of 3 months where you are consistently trying and putting content out there. And if you really are not getting any sort of traction after that 3 months, then I think you've given it your shot. You can either try to keep going, try to change it up, or try a different platform. But that should be the absolute minimum, where you're at least posting a few times a week. And similarly, another mistake is not trying new things and just keep going with the same things you've been doing, even if they're not working. And I've been there too. I've been stuck in the same sort of content style, wanting to change things up and not wanting to have a flop moment. But I think something I've had to embrace being on social media is that you are going to have flops. Not every post is going to succeed and do really well. But if you hold yourself back because you're worried about those metrics or people seeing that this post didn't perform well, no one is paying attention to it like you are yourself and being hard on yourself. So embrace the flops. Know that sometimes you're going to try things that just don't work, and then you've at least tried it and and you've experimented, and that's okay. Which leads me very closely to my next mistake, which is focusing too much on the vanity metrics. I recently worked with a client who was being so hard on themselves because they were losing followers, but their sales were doing really well, higher than they've been doing, even though they were losing followers. And I've had a similar experience as well, where I've had a couple of months where I was losing more followers than I was gaining, but my sales were not noticeably impacted at all. So sometimes we get too in the weeds with the vanity metrics, the things that are important. I wouldn't lie. I think that growing your audience is a great thing. However, is it the most important thing? Is it bringing you money? Is it impacting your bottom line? A lot of the times it's not. So when we're paying attention to the numbers that we're worried about other people seeing, oh, people are going to notice my follower count going down, or people are going to notice that this post didn't get any comments or got less likes than normal. I'm going to archive this or delete this post because it didn't get enough views and people are going to think I'm a failure. Those are the things and the mindset that is holding us back from actually succeeding. Those things do not matter. If you have a flop post, leave it. It could get traction later on. I've had many posts take off weeks or months, especially on TikTok. And if I would have archived it, I would have never known if that would have done better. So focus less on those vanity metrics and focus more on, am I building community? Am I forming connections with people? Am I selling my products? Am I getting more traffic to my website? Is my mailing list growing? These are the metrics to focus on and really look at the results of those. The next mistake is not using other things that you've already created to help you with your marketing. When it comes to repurposing content or creating new content, go back to what you've already created, because I'm sure that there are great things that you've written for your product descriptions, for your website, for past email newsletters that could easily be repurposed into social media posts and vice versa. Taking old social media posts and seeing how you can repurpose them to blog posts or newsletters, or maybe updating your website with some of that information. It goes both ways. And I think that we shouldn't always need to be creating something from scratch, something brand new for our audience, when you've already put so much creative effort into other marketing platforms and tools as well. So what I would recommend you do if you haven't done this in a while is put together an archive and go through that and make highlights or take notes of things you could reuse. For example, I love to go through past newsletters and pull out chunks and paragraphs and quotes that I could repurpose into social media captions, or that I could turn into a graphic or a reel for social media where I'm just talking about what I said in the newsletter, then I'm not creating things from scratch. And it feels a lot more manageable to be consistent when we aren't always creating things from scratch. So if you struggle with being consistent, or you feel like you're constantly having to come up with new ideas, then that is what I would recommend that you do, because I bet that you have things, even like visuals too. I didn't mention that. Like, look through your photo gallery. Do you have photos that you took but never used, or videos that you took that could be used as background footage for a reel? I bet you have something somewhere that you could pull and use for your content in the next week or two. Now, if social media content is something that you struggle with coming up with new ideas, you're not sure what to post next, then I definitely recommend that you get on the waitlist for the Creatives Content Club. I'll link it in the description of this video. It is a phenomenal community of around 300 creatives who are really passionate about getting to that next level of using social media and marketing to sell more of their products. And we've gotten some really, really great results for our members. You get feedback from me. You can ask questions to me anytime in our Facebook group. I go live in the group once a month to answer questions. I review your content as well and provide specific feedback just for you. So it's very hands-on, and it also has a full social media course built into it that is added on each month. So I'll link that in my description if you are interested. It is on a waitlist right now, but it'll be open in April for new members as well. I hope that one of these mistakes resonated with you and inspired you to go back to your marketing strategy and look at how you can make some tweaks and optimize it to continue learning and being better with your marketing. I am always learning new things, always optimizing, always tweaking. And I think just having that learning mindset of being open to new things is so beneficial for the type of career that we're in. We're creatives, but we also have to do the marketing if we want our work to make an impact in the world. So I'm glad that you're here learning with me as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.